Dean Robertson, thank you very much for giving me the honor of speaking today. And I want to thank the students for not disinviting me to this event. Being invited to speak at a commencement and not being disinvited is a double honor, so thank you very much for that. And Dean Robertson, thank you very much for what you've done for this school over the last 7 years. The degree that the students will get today is worth much more than it was before you became dean. So thank you for everything you've done for Wharton. In a few minutes, your life will change forever. You will receive a degree in business administration, but more importantly, a Wharton degree in business administration. And with that Wharton degree, you will have the entree into a world previously not readily available to you. And with that Wharton degree, you will also have the ability to entice people to give you responsibilities and opportunities far beyond what you once had. And as a result, in theory at least, you will be able to achieve personal and career goals that you may have had for quite some time, but without a Wharton degree were far less likely to achieve. No doubt, most of you will earn more money as a result of your Wharton degree than you would have ever been able to earn without that degree. Some of you, no doubt, will earn staggering sums of money, amounts of money which will enable you to fulfill many times over your families, your children's, and your grandchildren's material needs and ambitions. Truly far more money than you really need or can intelligently spend. But however much money any of you might make, average amounts, above average amounts, or staggering Forbes 400 amounts, you will have presumably and hopefully done so by helping your society and your country. Perhaps you will have invested funds wisely and created profits and jobs, or perhaps you will have managed companies well and created profits and jobs, or perhaps you will have created and built companies and created profits and jobs. And the creation of profits and jobs is what makes the capitalist system work. The system that, however imperfect in its operation and distribution of wealth at times, does produce the kind of wealth and economic opportunities necessary for our society and our country, and for similar societies and similar countries to function, to progress, to grow, to achieve. And there's no doubt what Joseph Wharton had in mind when he gave the money to start the Wharton School. That is exactly what he had in mind. And the creation of profits and jobs and ultimately wealth by graduates of the school that he conceived and founded would no doubt make Joseph Wharton proud of his legacy. Think how proud you would be if one of your creations were the Wharton School. No doubt some of you are wondering if I'll now tell you how to actually make large sums of money. The type of money that could enable you to one day create a legacy like that of the Wharton School. To be honest, I can do so in 5 minutes or less, though I'm a bit hesitant to do so and to imply thereby that you wasted your money and hard work over the last several years and could have just listened to me for a few minutes and saved the effort you gave to getting your degree. But rest assured, you did not waste your time or your money or your parents' money, and you will be better off in life with your degree than without it. But that said, here's all you need to know in 5 minutes or so in order to make a great deal of money. 1, perseverance is infinitely more important than brilliance or even a reasonably high degree of intelligence. Not taking no for an answer will yield far more financial rewards than will acquiescence to conventional wisdom. Do not give up your own beliefs and passion easily or quickly. 2, hard work will yield greater financial rewards than a 9-to-5 work style. If you really want to get ahead financially, long hours are unfortunately a prerequisite. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, John Huntsman, Jack Welch, Lou Gerstner, Oprah Winfrey, Sheryl Sandberg, Jack Ma, and Joseph Wharton, and countless other business giants put in the time needed to make a mark in their world. So recognize that anything really worth achieving in business or life takes a serious time commitment. 3, focusing on one subject or one area where you can truly make yourself an expert, your organization's indispensable resource, will lead to further responsibilities and related benefits. Avoid spreading yourself thin by trying to do too much before you do one thing extremely well. Once you are established as the expert or go-to person in one area, other opportunities will inevitably come to you, and your responsibilities and rewards will inevitably increase. 4, learning how to persuade others to do what you want is the essence of a successful business career and the essence of life in many respects. To do that well, you need to learn how to communicate effectively by writing and speaking well. But more importantly, you need to learn how to communicate well by the most effective means of persuading, by the example you set in your own actions or conduct. Hone these means of persuasion at every opportunity. 5, place your energies into providing the best service or the best product possible. Do not focus on how much money you will make. The obsession with the making of money rarely leads to the actual making of money. The obsession with achieving excellence and with doing the best job possible, doing something no one else can do as well, is usually what leads to the making of fortune. Money needs to be the happy byproduct, not the principal goal. And 6, whatever financial success you might have at the outset, that success can be multiplied many times as people observe how you handle your initial success. Humility rather than arrogance will lead to far greater eventual success. There are exceptions to this rule, unfortunately, but you should not honestly want to be one of these exceptions. You should want to be someone who recognizes that luck likely played a real role in your success and bad luck could come along at any point. So stay humble. Follow these 6 rules and you almost certainly, with just a modest amount of good luck, make a fair amount of money in your life if that is your goal. And of course, it need not be. My own goal today is not really to tell you how to make large sums of money, but to tell you that you are likely, following my rules or your Wharton education or both, to have more money at some point in your life than you or in your family truly need. Rather, my message today is that if you are in fact smart enough to earn a Wharton degree, and all of you obviously are, you will realize in time, if you do not already know, that the mere making of money will not really make you happy. And personal happiness, as elusive as that can be to attain, is a far better life goal than the making of money. In this city over 230 years ago, Thomas Jefferson wrote a sentence that became the most famous sentence in the English language. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Unfortunately, Jefferson was not precise then or later in his life about what he meant by happiness. He may well have meant making lots of money, for he was perpetually short of money. And he may well have thought having a good deal of money might make him happier. But in truth, he was too smart to ever think that. He realized that his greatest pleasures came from intellectual pursuits and from helping others, from helping his community, his state, his fellow citizens, and his country. And I have learned the same lesson. But not being gifted with Jefferson's intellect, it took me much longer to learn it. Early in my career, I had no interest in making money. I wanted to do public service. Toward that end, I joined a presidential campaign, hoping to do some public service at the White House, but the candidate dropped out a few weeks later. Not a great start to my public career. I joined another campaign, Jimmy Carter's in 1976, and he promptly went from a 33-point lead to barely winning by 1 point. My value added in today's business lingo was obviously not great, and President Carter repeatedly reminded me of that fact. Still, I got my desired White House job. Unfortunately, I managed to get inflation to 19%, a feat not matched by anyone since then. And so my public service career came to an end, and I think forever, for I have never been invited back to government since then, no doubt to the relief of all Americans. But I have told Janet Yellen that I am available to return if deflation ever becomes a real concern. I know I can fix that problem. After leaving the White House, I turned to the making of money as a last resort. Nothing else was working for me, and I thought I would get what F. Scott Fitzgerald would call my revenge by living well, by making a great deal of money, and by getting pleasure from the resulting material possessions. And I was sure by doing so, I would be able to achieve life's most elusive goal, personal happiness. Well, after about 2 decades of work, a great deal of luck, talented partners, and the grace of God, my business career resulted in a fair amount of money. And then Forbes magazine outed me about the actual extent of my wealth. And around the time that this happened, I realized that buying more material things would not impact my happiness one iota. I realized that enabling my executor to give away enormous sums of money would not enhance my happiness. And I realized that giving my children ridiculously large sums of money would neither increase my happiness nor, in the end, theirs, though they may not have realized that then and still may not. And so I resolved to give away my money in ways that I thought might help my community and my country. I resolved to focus a large part of my energies on giving away what I had worked so hard to get. And that seemed incongruous at first. I nearly killed myself for 2 decades making the money, and now I was going to let it go more rapidly than I had made it. Toward that end, I became one of the first 40 Americans and the only person in private equity to sign the Giving Pledge developed by Bill and Melinda Gates and Warren Buffett. I increased my existing efforts to repay the universities, medical institutions, and other nonprofit organizations that had been so helpful to my family and to me. And then I decided to repay my country for the wonderful opportunities it has afforded to me, someone whose parents did not graduate from high school and whose father never made more than $8,000 a year. I tried to do this initially by purchasing and preserving for future generations historic documents of freedom, like the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Independence, and the Emancipation Proclamation, so that Americans could learn more about their heritage. I tried more recently to repair or enhance federal buildings, like the recently reopened Washington Monument, and institutions like the Smithsonian, the National Archives, the National Gallery of Art, or the Kennedy Center, institutions that do not any longer have readily available federal resources that they once enjoyed. I have called this type of activity patriotic philanthropy, and tried in this somewhat modest way to inspire others by my acts to also remember that their country and their government no longer has the resources it once did. I cite all this not to pat myself on the back, and I am the first to say that my own philanthropic efforts are far less impactful and far less meaningful than those of so many other philanthropists in our country. And I mention what I'm doing not because I am today asking any of you to pursue patriotic philanthropy as a life goal. Rather, I wanted to let you know that I have achieved, as a result of these acts of giving away my wealth, far greater happiness than I achieved in making the wealth. Perhaps this is due to what I call the mother test. My mother never actually called to congratulate me on making any of the money, but she frequently calls to congratulate me on giving it away. I know this general lesson about the pleasures of giving away has been learned by every other signer of the Giving Pledge as well, and by every other person who has been actively involved in giving away their money to help others. The happiest people I know are the biggest philanthropists. The happiest people I know are the ones who realize their money can do much more than buying bigger homes and yachts and status. And correspondingly, some of the unhappiest people I know are those people who have accumulated large sums of money and see their life's goal principally to be to accumulate more of it, as if the more wealth one has upon death, you will get to heaven more quickly. Maybe you can get to heaven more quickly that way, but I would not count on that being the case. My only regret is that I did not learn the lesson of giving away money to help others, to help one's community, to help one's country a bit earlier in life. Had I done so, perhaps I would have enjoyed the enormous happiness that I now enjoy a bit earlier. Had I done so, perhaps I could have done something more productive or helpful to my country many years earlier. Do not make my mistake. Do not wait until the last third of your presumed actuarial life to give back. Do not wait until your opportunities to make a real difference in the world may have passed you by. And most importantly, do not assume that the money you are now poised and certain to make, in whatever amounts, will buy you real happiness. It honestly will not. And therefore, I urge you to learn from my lesson and the lesson of so many others like me. Do more than make money. Give back to your community, your society, your country, and do so even when you may not have large sums of money. By doing so, you will surely achieve happiness much earlier in your life. By doing so, you will lead a much more fulfilling and rewarding life. Trust me, what I say is true, and I have learned this to be the case many times over. I hope, though, you will learn it more rapidly than I did. And in thinking about how you want to give back to society, remember these 3 points. First, you can give back by doing more than giving money. Money is always appreciated, for sure, but giving your time and your energy and your ideas can be just as beneficial as anything else you do. Second, find an area in which to give back that you are really interested in. The greater your own interest, inevitably the greater your willingness to stay motivated, to make a difference, to influence and help others. Third, try to focus always on how what you are doing is really making a difference rather than adding to a resume. Focus on how your presence on the face of the earth, as fleeting as it is justified by what you have done trying to make society and the world a slightly better place than you inherited. Do not get to the end of your life and regret what you did not do during the earlier part of your life. Try to make the world a better place. And I'm certain that Joseph Wharton would agree completely with me. He made a great deal of money, but the difference he really made in the world came from his philanthropic endeavors such as the Wharton School and Swarthmore College. They live on. His companies really do not. His legacy is from what he did to help others. So if you do not believe what I have said, just think of Joseph Wharton. He left behind great institutions which have changed the world and made it a far better place. You now carry his name with you for the rest of your life. Follow his lead. You can do the same as he did, and you can do so far better if you start earlier rather than later. So congratulations on joining the group of Wharton graduates. Congratulations on now having a sanctioned license to make money. Use that license well, and remember this license should also be seen as well as a license to give back to society. Do your best to make Joseph Wharton, as well as your parents and children, proud. It is surely within your grasp to do so. Do not squander this opportunity. But all of this can wait until tomorrow. Today, be sure to thank those who made this day possible for you, and tell them that you will repay them by repaying society through improving the world in some way. Thank you.